trip through Asia.
Yeah, he is expected to have a meeting with the Chinese president where the two will be talking trade tariffs and TikTok.
Last week, 1.4 million federal workers missed a full paycheck. Now, you know, many of them are furloughed, and many more are deemed essential workers, those who are essential, for example, to keep the country safe.
Plus, day 27 of the government shutdown as the Senate reconvenes today. No vote is planned on the House-passed funding measure that has failed a dozen times.
And after more than a week on the run, police have arrested two people who they say may have played a role in the massive jewel heist in Paris. What we know about the items that were taken. Glad to have you with us tonight. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jeff Smith.
And I'm Kaylee Marentat. We begin with the latest on Hurricane Melissa, which is slowly moving towards Jamaica as a powerful Category 5 storm.
Yeah, this is a big one. People are boarding up homes and businesses, collecting last-minute supplies. Melissa's outer bands have already started lashing the country with wind and rain.
Hurricane Melissa is expected to be the strongest storm in recorded history to hit the island.
Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Chris Vickers right now.
Chris, where is the storm now and when is it expected to make landfall?
Yeah, the south shore of the island of Jamaica. It is still about 90 miles off the southern shore, and it will make a landfall as we go into early Tuesday morning. So the latest update on what we do have with Melissa, and these numbers are just jaw-dropping. Wind speeds, they are sustained 175 miles per hour, gusts to 215 miles per hour, and that was brand new information that came in right around 5 p.m. A powerful Category 5 hurricane that is going to make an imminent landfall on the island of Jamaica. This is going to be a very dire and catastrophic situation. Now, here's the spin. This is an incredibly strong and very symmetrical hurricane. We call this really a buzzsaw type of hurricane, as it just spins over warm tropical waters that are close to 90 degrees that have been fueling the rapid intensification. Mention this one, Category 5 hurricane with winds that are gusting now to 215 miles per hour. Now, it's been moving fairly steadily west, now starting to make a turn, or eventually going to be making a turn to the north and west. So we are going to watch that. Hurricane hunters have been entering into this storm. Several missions that have been completed today, one that measured those wind speeds to 175 miles per hour and that very low barometric pressure. There was also a mission earlier today entering the southwest eye wall that actually had to abort the mission due to the extreme turbulence they were encountering. Now, this video is going to make your jaw just drop. Hurricane Melissa seen from outer space, high-resolution satellite imagery. What you're looking at here is the eye and the eye wall. Do you see those flashes? That is lightning that is illuminating the eye wall and the inner eye wall of Hurricane Melissa, an incredibly powerful Category 5 storm. Now, the track is going to take this into Jamaica. That will be occurring on Tuesday morning. We'll have more on our local weather and impacts that will be going on across the tropics. That'll be coming up. Kaylee, back over to you.
Well, Americans are typically generous in their efforts to donate towards disaster relief, with billions being raised annually. But scammers also see that generosity as an opportunity, creating fake charities and preying on urgency after major storms and tragedies like Hurricane Melissa. The Better Business Bureau of Northwest Ohio says there are ways for do-gooders to be wise with their contributions. They're reminding people to vet the charities online before making sure they're legit and they donate. Those of the BBB say that it's best to donate money only to established and well-known organizations who are actually headed to the area being impacted.
Be informed, be cautious, and then never text somebody bank account numbers or credit card numbers or social security numbers. Never send those things by email. If they're legitimate, they'll have a secure portal by which you can donate.
Tonight, Jack Crum has more on what you should know. Jack is joining us in studio tonight. Jack, how can you tell the difference between a real charity and a fake one after a disaster like this?
Well, it sounds like a lot of it is like every other kind of scamming, infomercial type thing where you just want to be cautious of exactly what you're clicking on. And really what it all comes down to is just taking the time to make sure that you're doing it correctly, you're vetting wherever you're sending the money, and just making sure sometimes the simplest thing is the simplest thing. If it's familiar, it's familiar. If it's credible, it's credible.
And I know a lot of people, when you think about donating and after these disasters, your emotions can run high. You just want to help and you're so desperate. Well, talk about why it's so important to slow down and check the these sites beforehand.
Right. Well, that was the big thing that the Better Business Bureau told me, is that scammers count on this type of urgency. Right. They want you to act on emotion. They want you to, and a lot of times when they're sending it to your inbox or whatever, it's, they need your help now, donate now, like. But again, if you just take your time, right, vet it, and just make sure that it's credible.
So you did speak with representatives from the Better Business Bureau, the BBB, about this. What are some other red flags that they had mentioned about spotting these shoddy sites? Yeah, so the number one thing is, don't click on any unsolicited links. That's really the main piece, because that's what takes you to those spotty websites, and then you get scammed. I even wrote it down. So, you never want to give out personal info, just like every other, kind of scamming thing ever. Yep.
Don't give away
Don't
your
do that.
social security, your credit card, keep those to yourself. They also suggested, if you're going to donate, most of the time you want to donate money, not necessarily, water bottles or anything else. And you want to donate those to, like American Red Cross or other credible and reputable, organizations that can help that out.
It's so easy, yeah, and we've talked about too, like your money can go so much further. It's also, there's another hurdle to this too, is that we were talking earlier that I went down for Hurricane Ian and some of the relief for Hurricane Ian, and it's a little bit easier to ship that to the American Red Cross because they're going, but we're talking about Jamaica, something that's not in the continental U.S. as well. So those monetary donations are going to be a little bit more important.
Right, and that was another thing they said too, is you want to make sure that there are boots on the ground. Wherever you're donating to, you want to make sure that they're there at the site, so that obviously your goodwill can be stretched to its farthest potential.
Exactly. All right, Jack, thanks for joining us here tonight. Jeff, we're going to send it over to you.
All right, let's get you up to speed on things making headlines across the nation and around the world. Authorities have made the first arrest in that shocking theft of jewels from the Louvre in Paris. Plus, 2 U.S. Navy aircraft crashed separately in the South China Sea. And it is day 27 of the government shutdown. We'll bring you an update there, but we start right here. President Trump in Tokyo today as part of a 5-day trip through Asia. The president is set to meet with Japan's newly elected prime minister tomorrow. The 3-country trip to Asia began over the weekend in Malaysia, where he signed trade agreements with Malaysia, Thailand, and Cambodia, as well as a peace treaty. The administration says that U.S. and China have agreed to a framework of a trade deal around key issues. The Treasury Secretary for the U.S. saying that the president's threat of an additional 100% tariff is off the table, and signaled that China will resume substantial soybean purchases from American farmers. The federal government shutdown now into its 4th week. Republicans and Democrats both blaming each other for the stalemate. Nearly 500,000 federal workers missed their first full paycheck on Friday. This week, thousands more are expected to not get paid. And the food assistance program SNAP, that an estimated 40 million Americans rely on, will be cut off. Adding to the pressure, air traffic controllers will miss their paychecks starting tomorrow. The FAA says staffing shortages led to major flight delays over the weekend and thousands of delays throughout the day today. The U.S. Navy is investigating what led to a helicopter and a fighter jet to crash in separate incidents over the South China Sea Sunday. The crashes happened within a 30-minute time span during routine operations. The Navy's Pacific Fleet said all crew members were safely rescued. President Trump called the back-to-back crashes, quote-unquote, very unusual, and raised the possibility of a fuel-related issue. All right, let's go over to Paris now, where the first arrests have been made after the theft of priceless jewels from the Louvre Museum over the weekend, or over a week ago, I should say. The 2 suspects were arrested late Saturday night. According to French media, one of them was caught just before flying to Algeria in North Africa. Police have a maximum of 96 hours to charge the suspects they've arrested. The suspects are apparently well known to police, but a criminologist says getting the jewels back is unlikely. The stolen treasures may have already left France. The gold and silver melted down, we should say, and the gems could already be cut into smaller, untraceable stones.
Well, still to come, Halloween is the one night to dress up as anyone you want, but your costume could be saying more about you than you think.
And the weather Tuesday, a little bit more of a sweet treat. Highs are going to be into the mid to upper 50s. Bright skies and sunshine. Enjoy that before we do see rain chances return. We'll have more on that coming up next.
We have the latest on what's trending on social media. Here's Sophia Pericone on our TikTok page.
There is a massive chicken recall that you need to know about. Hormel Foods is pulling 4.8 million pounds of ready-to-eat frozen chicken after customers found metal inside. The recall affects chicken breast and thigh meat shipped to restaurants, hotels, and other food service locations nationwide. All recalled products have the code P223 inside the USDA inspection mark. Hormel says the metal likely came from a conveyor belt during production. So far, there haven't been any injuries, but the USDA says if you got it, throw it out.
Make sure you're following WTOL 11 on your favorite social media platforms to stay up to date. Halloween is just days away, and in Wisconsin, a massive skeleton display has taken over one man's lawn for the past 25 years. The annual Holy Hill Skeleton Display is celebrating America's 250th birthday, which is coming up next year. I don't think this party is dead. Anyone is on display. Uncle Sam, Evel Knievel, and even the Statue of Liberty.
I did everything I could to make sure that this display was not Democratic and it was not Republican. It's patriotic. It's for everybody in America. It's not for one side or the other. It's for everybody in America to enjoy this display.
Well, the man who created the display has done plenty of other themes as well. A 40th high school reunion, weddings, surfing skeletons, and more. While the theme changes every year, there is a rainbow bridge that has a common piece for the past several years to honor the pets who have passed. Well, take a look at this. People in Belgium have been competing in a relay race. The twist, they race using these giant pumpkins as boats. The race was organized by a nearby kayaking club and pumpkin growers, and the annual event has become a staple of the town. This has been a tradition since 2008.
I was coring out a pumpkin last night as we did our family carving that we do each and every weekend before Halloween, and I can't imagine all the gunk and seeds that came out of those things.
A large shovel too, right? One scoop at a time.
My goodness.
How long it takes to even just do one of those little pumpkins. I wonder when they start coring those out and getting all that out.
And growing them too. These things are huge. They're like 2,000 pounds, right? They weigh a ton.
Probably November of last year.
Yeah.
Right after the holiday.
Probably not.
All right, we got some serious stuff to talk about down in Jamaica, and that storm, just the formation of. you were talking about, you were asking him, you're like, we left last week at the end of the week saying, oh, this is a tropical storm, no big deal.
And it was then, kind of a mess, too.
Yeah.
It was a mess. It was very disorganized. It was undergoing a lot of wind shear at the time. And we said, heads up, it's not going to do much for about 24 to 36 hours, but once it kind of flips the switch, rapid intensification is going to occur. And to put it in perspective, we have computer models that show various range of outcomes. This rapid intensification was far more extreme than anything that even our computer models projected. So very dire situation over toward Jamaica. Let me take you over to the weather maps here. And we're going to be talking about a major Category 5 hurricane that will make landfall. There's no doubt about this one. It is going to hit the island of Jamaica, and it is going to hit it right on the chin. One of the strongest hurricanes, more likely the strongest one ever to impact Jamaica, even besting Hurricane Gilbert back in 1988, if you follow the tropics very close. This is a buzzsaw of a hurricane, which means it kind of just looks like a saw blade, doesn't it? It is spinning over the warm waters of the Caribbean, which are right around the upper 80s and near 90 degrees. Now, the impressive structure of this one has been investigated by hurricane hunter missions. In fact, there was a mission earlier in the day today where the turbulence got so bad in the southwest eye wall, they actually had to abort the mission early. Now, where is this going to be going? It's a no-doubter landfall that's going to be occurring tomorrow morning. The steering current's going to take it back over the island of Jamaica. No impact to the United States, by the way. I'll be very clear about this one. This is zero impact on the U.S. mainland, but it is going to rake itself across Jamaica, across Cuba, and then parts of the Bahama Islands over the next 24 to 48, even 72 hours. Now, no impact in the United States. There's some rain across the southeast, totally unrelated to what's going on in the tropics, and we're dealing with some cloud cover. It's drifting north. No rain for us till we get to about Wednesday. That will be the next chance of rain. We are in the 50s right now across the area, and tonight with that breeze turning a little cooler, it's going to have a familiar late October chill dipping us back, more so into the upper 30s to near 40 degrees. Now, Tuesday, it's going to be a gorgeous day. I'll urge you to be out there to enjoy the sunshine, because days like this that are bright and beautiful, they become few and far between as we get into the cloudy season ahead. Highs expected to reach into the mid-50s, and could even get a few spots that sneak into the upper 50s for tomorrow. We are entirely dry as we go through tonight and into Tuesday. You're going to wake up to a beautiful bright sunrise, clear skies and sunshine through the afternoon. We have no rain out there for Tuesday, no rain Tuesday night and into Wednesday. Next chance we could get rain, it's going to be near or after dark on Wednesday. Showers are going to creep in from the south, and that will bring rain back into the area late Wednesday into Thursday. So here's the numbers of my 10-day forecast. Acting more like late October, mid-50s for Tuesday and into Wednesday. There's that rain chance. It's really late Wednesday into Thursday. Will keep us close to 50 on Thursday. Now, there will be some rain chances out there Friday for Halloween. That is not something that's going to be widespread. A few spotty showers, mainly the first half of the day, and very likely that we're going to be drying out toward Friday night for trick or treating. Highs will stay the lower 50s Saturday and into Sunday, and this weekend Sunday, we actually fall back 1 hour as we enter into the first Sunday of November, and we'll stay in the upper 40s to low 50s as we go into that first week of November. Back over to you guys.
All right, Chris, thanks. With Halloween celebrations all throughout this week and the holiday being Friday, many have already picked out their costumes.
But have you ever wondered what your costume says about you? Jenny Day has more.
Halloween, of course, is a time for self-expression, tapping into fantasy and imagination, tricks and treats. But there's also a little psychology behind your costume choice. The Dia de los Muertos sugar skull has been my go-to year after year. I love the look and the meaning behind the tradition, but others often opt for classic horror. Disney princesses and pop culture icons are also always popular. It can say a lot about how you see yourself, a mood you may be in, or even how you want to be perceived.
It's definitely our busiest season, but the most fun.
According to both Psychology Today and Gypsy Treasure, your Halloween costume choice is revealing. For example, fans of dressing up like vampires, witches, zombies, or ghosts enjoy timeless themes and appreciate suspense and mystery. Truly Scary suggests you might be conquering a childhood fear, or maybe you just like pushing boundaries and stirring reactions. Princesses are often sweet and graceful. Superheroes like Marvel Mania this year suggest strength and courage. Spirit Halloween says the corpse bride likes to be intimidating, but deep down is a hopeless romantic.
It's that one time of year where you can just be whatever you want to be.
Characters from movies or TV shows indicate you keep up with the trends and have charisma. K-pop Demon Hunters, Wicked, and Squid Game are topping the costume trend charts this Halloween.
At least 5 to 10 times a day, people are coming in asking for K-pop.
And class clowns looking for a laugh may opt for animation this year, highlighting their playful side. Fairies and dragons show a love of imagination, creativity, and independence. Making a costume suggests confidence, resourcefulness, and pride in self-expression. Those who select sexy could mean a chance to explore a more daring persona.
They've cut down most of the bottoms of the trees, but all the tops are still like they were, you know, none of the tops have been done.
Still to come, an East Toledo property filled with overgrown trees and shrubbery. Well, we first showed you this last month. The neighbors say it's looking better, but it's not finished.
Also, voters in Sylvania will see something on the ballot they haven't seen for years. We'll tell you how much it's going to cost taxpayers and why some say it's so vital. Glad you're with us here on WTOL 11 Plus now.
Here's a look at some of the stories we are tracking for you tonight. In September, the yard of this East Toledo home looked like this, and now it looks like this. Neighbors Karen Reno and Anthony Foster say the yard next door has caused problems for their property for more than a year, saying 3 weeks ago the landlord started cleaning up and put up a new fence after our WTOL 11 crews showed up, but they'd like to see more done. Toledo City Council member Nick Comives recommends calling Engage Toledo if you have a problem with blight in your neighborhood.
Oftentimes there are vacant properties, and these things can really kind of lead to a lot of vermin and rodents that people don't like. So if you see it, please call, let us know. We'll do our best and to get out there as quickly as we can.
Councilman Comives says that though neighbors may not always see eye to eye, there is a mediation service they can use through the Human Relations Committee to help create productive conversations between neighbors. Voters in Sylvania will decide whether or not to pass a renewal levy for the Senior Center. Issue 6 is a 5-year .5 mil levy to keep the Sylvania Center operating. If it passes, each year it'll cost a homeowner a little less than $18 per $100,000 home. The center provides meals and activities to Sylvania's 55-plus community. The center's leaders say without it, seniors risk falling into isolation.
We have art and lunch and bingo, card games, mahjong, you name it, but it's socialization for people. So if you're retired and you're not going into an office and having people to socialize with, you could become very isolated and lonely.
The Senior Center serves more than 300 people a day. They've had nearly 600 new members so far this year. The executive director says if the levy doesn't pass, there could be fewer programs and staff.
Hey, don't forget to check out some of the other exclusive content that we have on WTOL 11+. On a brand new episode of Leading Edge, Sylvania Mayor and energy consultant Mark Fry breaks down the power and economic impact of data centers. I wanted to talk numbers with you, specifically you saying people really need to wrap their minds around the dollars and cents of these facilities, what they bring to the table. Right. Give me kind of, I guess, the analogy that you were using with me earlier.
So I ran some quick math. The cost of building a data center it's a 2-year construction process probably in 2 or potentially 3 or 4 phases. No matter what company's doing it. Doesn't matter what the name of the company is. They're going to hire between 1,500 and 2,000 contractors, whether it's HVAC technicians, whether they're people that are pouring concrete, running wiring for electricians, all of those things, all of those people, highly skilled labor, and those people are going to be on site working there for at least 1.5 to 2 years, even if they don't build these things in phases, which is the way they typically go about it. So there's going to be a long cycle of hundreds and hundreds, potentially 2,000 jobs just with the construction of these very large facilities.
So on the front end, payroll tax.
Payroll tax,
that's
absolutely.
The biggie there.
So the second piece of this puzzle is the fact that there's part of the concern people have is there's not many jobs attached to it. Well, yes and no. And when they say, oh, there's only 50 or 100 jobs, well, that's true if they're employees of the actual data center company, XYZ Data Center Incorporated, whatever. There's 50 or 100, but each one of those individuals who's working there is making probably 2 or 3 times on an hourly rate what a person who's working at the Jeep plant is rate. So it's all things are not equal when it comes to the payroll tax that goes to a community. The second piece of that payroll on an ongoing basis, though, is there's contractors, just like an oil refinery. There's lots of contractors in an oil refinery that don't ever work at the oil refinery, but they're still paying payroll taxes. They're running all over this facility, making sure this thing is running like a Swiss watch. And that's an important component. But the most important piece of this puzzle that I think gets lost is the property tax revenue, the payment in lieu of taxes, which are typically going to be negotiated for a facility of this magnitude. This is a multi-billion-dollar, with a B, not million, billion-dollar facility that is going to have these big, lots and lots of computer chips in it, but the building itself may cost, when they're finished with all the phases, as much as $2 billion worth of infrastructure. And the nature of that is such, Mayor Safarian from the city of Oregon has mentioned, there's $20 million of tax influx of tax revenue into the city of Oregon and the surrounding community, to the schools, to the city, whatever that amalgamation is.
Yeah. Boy, you can learn more about this coming up on the full episode of Leading Edge in just a few minutes right here on WTOL 11+.
Well, students from one elementary school are getting a civics lesson today. East Broadway Elementary held a mock election to pick a mascot to represent their big green garden at the school. Students and staff were able to pick between a spider, squirrel, duck, groundhog, and a bird, all animals that have been seen in the garden. The election is all part of the school's My Voice Matters initiative with Kids Voting Ohio. Organizers say this is more than just learning about how elections work. It's about teaching everyone to respect the garden.
And that, I guess I would say my older kids really want to teach the younger kids how to take care of the garden. You know, it's their legacy that they're handing down, and every year they've handed it down to the next group. And they want to do that so that they can teach them how to take care of it and it can keep going.
The garden spider emerged as the winner, becoming the official mascot of the East Broadway's Big Green Garden.
Harmless and slightly spooky. I like it.
Yeah, good time for the spider to be elected.
Yeah. A little creepy out there weather-wise as far as what we're looking at toward Halloween. We will have some damp and cooler weather. That arrives late Wednesday to Thursday. Really take your pick each day. We're going to have breezy weather nearly daily. So today was really an ideal day. Highs on Friday, lower 50s. Rain chances will linger into Friday, especially early in the day. I'm a little more optimistic. Those showers will taper off as we get toward trick or treat time. So Halloween forecast right around 50 degrees, falling into the 40s after dark.
Ooh.
Thank you so much for joining us. You can stream our full lineup of local content anytime you want.
We'll see you later tonight.